Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We will continue with 100 days of DevOps, and in the previous video we created a resource group, Terraform ROG, using Terraform from our VS Code. So we created a resource group, we defined our provider, and we created a resource group. And I said today we will be creating a storage account and a virtual machine as time will permit. So we have our resource group created already. So everything we are going to create will be inside this resource group. I could have used the 100 of DevOps resource group, but then I wanted to show how to create resource groups using Terraform. So whatever we are going to do will be under the Terraform ROG. And so let's go straight to our documentation. What we want is storage account. So let's go back to the storage account. So go through it. So we can see Azure RN storage account. So we'll click on it, and this is it. So you can see that for you to create a storage account, basic storage account, you need to have a resource group already created before you can create a storage account, right? Since we already have the resource group, we won't be creating the resource group. We will just be creating the storage account. So I'm going to copy this. Now you notice something. This name, Azure ROM storage account, is what is also referenced here. So this is what tells Azure that the resource I want to create is a storage account. For resource group, you can see for resource group, we have Azure ROM resource group. So if you're wondering how this name were gotten, they are not just manufactured by me or by anyone. It is what actually tells Terraform that what I want to create is this and this and this. When we want to create a virtual machine, you would see the same thing. So I'm just going to copy this. So I'm going to copy this and I'll come here and I'm just going to paste it below. I'm going to take this off because we already have our resource group. So I'll take this off and okay. So okay. So we have our resource group which we created in the previous video, and the reference is test. Like I said, test is not the resource group. Test is the reference name, and you can see it here because you need to define your resource group name and the location. And you can see that we are calling, we are calling this. It's just like a function in programming. It's called a function. So we are calling that function. So we are calling the resource group name is test dot name. That's you're calling the name value of the test um reference, and then we're also going to reference the location in that sentence. Like I told you yesterday, the test is not the name. Test is just like a reference which you're going to use in the course of writing your code. If you're familiar with programming, you will know what a function is. So this is just like a function calling another function. So that's just basically what it does. I'm going to change the name. I'm going to storage, and the name I want it to be retract storage. So okay, the name of the storage is retract storage. The resource group name we've referenced it. So instead of writing hard coding it is with references. Soon enough, we're going to split some of these files into some of these blocks of code into other files like your provider.tf, your variables.tf, and all of that. And then the account tier is we are creating a standard storage account. I mentioned this, I think, 2 videos ago, or I think I even did it yesterday. You cannot automate the creation of any resource if you don't know how to manually, create it on the portal. And I've always said that is the reason why these 100 days of DevOps have different phases. Each phase will do is layered on what we have done before. That's exactly why the phase, I think four, phase four, which is Azure, came before infrastructure as code because we are going to be creating the same things that we created on Azure. But then by now we already have a mental picture of how to create those things, how we click it to create it. So we know what is required when we are writing our code. So the account type, we are creating a standard account. And for the account replication type, it's this LROS, GROS, ZRS, and all of that. So I'm going to create a locally redundant storage, not GRS. Let me do LRS. Yes. So we can put tag. Well, tag can be anything. So staging, just tag of test. So you can do away with the tags if the tag if you don't want it, or you can put it whichever one works for you. So that's how you create a storage account. Let me save it. So let's do Terraform plan. Now you don't need to initialize again because we've already initialized on this particular file before. So we just run Terraform plan. Okay, so we can see that there's one to add, zero to change, zero to destroy. But we notice that the output of this particular one is quite different from the output of when we try to create a resource group. Basically, this is because it doesn't take so much to create a resource group. When we created a resource group by clicking, it's just your one single page and then resource group is created. But when we try to creating a storage account, if you can remember, we have to go through different phases to create this account. So there are a lot of things that will be created alongside this account. For example, you have your account type, storage v2. The account here will be known after creating the account, the access here rather. The account here is standard like we defined. The application type is LRS as we defined. The location is West Europe, right? And if we go down, the name of the storage is Petrax storage. The TLS is 1.2. These are normal things that can be revealed to us. You can see all the rest is a sensitive value which is not displayed. The other ones are known after applying. You can see our resource group is Terraform ROG because it is already in in the code as the case may be. So let's go down. Now you notice now that we have two resources. We have two resources basically. We have the resource group and we have the storage account. However, what we are seeing here is one to add, zero to change, zero to modify. Why do we have one to add? Like I said, Terraform has a log.hcl that tracks the state of what you have created. So what happens is that if a resource has previously been created, it does not create it again. It doesn't create it again. And that's why you see it's saying want to add. So it is just adding. So it is adding. That brings me back to consistent environment. Once the resource has been created in that environment, if you apply this Terraform file 20 times, it will not create it again. It will use that same format and then to compare it. Once it looks at what you defined in your code and it compares it to what is in your provider or what is in your cloud account and it is the same thing, Terraform will not create it again. So I just wanted to put that out. So now that we have just one to add, zero to change, zero to destroy, we can go ahead and do Terraform apply. Let me do hyphen help. I'm trying to get something. Okay, I'm trying to yes. So I mentioned that it will keep asking you yes. So this is what you use auto approve. So we are going to do I'm going to copy this. I don't need to copy it. Just the Terraform apply auto approve. So like I said, I do not recommend this. I do not recommend this, but because we've already seen the output of what we want to do, so I can go ahead and click enter. It's not going to ask me for to answer yes or no. It will just go ahead and you know create that resource without asking for an approval because I've already used the auto approve flag. So let's give it a second and we'll see what is created afterwards. Okay, so we've been able to create our storage account. You can see it even ask me to answer yes for anything. So let's go to our Azure portal and let's refresh. Okay, let me click on the resource group and let's see if we have a storage account inside of it. So we can see we have our storage account inside it and you can go into it. You can see it's a normal storage account. It's a storage v2 like we saw. It's LRS, it's standard, just the way we define it. And you can even see the tag that we define environment is test. So that is how you create a storage account in using Terraform. So now what we've been doing so far, we've been seeing adding resources. So let's see how we can modify a resource that instead of having one added, zero change, zero destroyed. Let's see how we can do zero added, one change, and zero destroyed. So when we go and let me change the account replication type to what was there before? GRS. Let's say I change it to I do tab and I change it to GRS and I save. When I do Terraform plan, I'll do Terraform plan and then when we run it, we'll see the output of Terraform plan. So let's enter it. So you can see after doing Terraform plan, you can see that Terraform used the selected provider to generate the following execution plan, blah, blah, blah. This is update in place. What we've been doing before is create. If I go up and I show you, you see it is creating. But now we are doing update in place. So Terraform will perform the following actions. So Azure storage account, the storage will be updated in place. The blah 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 account replication type will be changed from LRS. That is showing you what was there before LRS, and this is going to change to GRS, and then it cleared all the remaining ones because those ones it doesn't need to provide other information again. You're just changing it. It only needs to provide you with the one that you're changing, and you can see zero to add, one to change, and zero to destroy. So it's that's how you can make changes to your environment. You see everything. Terraform will output everything for you. You see what is going to change. You see what is going to be destroyed. You see what is going to be created. However, I'm not going to run Terraform apply on this so as not to waste our time. I will go straight into um, creating a virtual machine. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to remember we've created a storage account, a locally redundant storage account. Now I will take out this block of code from our main.tf and I'm going to replace it with the code for creating a virtual machine and then we'll see what happens. So now we are removing a resource and we are adding another resource. So let's see if we are going to get one to add and one to destroy. So how do we create a virtual resource, a virtual machine using Terraform? We don't need to stress about it. All we need to do is just go to our documentation page and let's just search for virtual machine. So what type of virtual machine are we creating? We are creating a Linux virtual machine. We're not creating a Windows virtual machine. Now, why are we using Linux virtual machine when we have Azure virtual machine? So if you click on this, it will tell you it has been superseded by either the Linux virtual machine or the Windows virtual machine. So it is better for us to use. We can also use this, but I mean, I'm not going to use this particular one since it's already told us that it has been superseded by this or this. So I'll just go straight and use the Azure Linux virtual machine since that is what we are creating. And I'm just going to copy this. And if you notice, it is creating, apart from just creating a virtual machine, it's creating a virtual network, it's creating a subnet, it is creating a network interface. This is when it is after it has created all of this, then it now creates the virtual machine and then adds the user and then adds the image to create the virtual machine. So I can go ahead and create a virtual machine without a network, but let's just copy exactly what is here and use it, and then we'll see what is going to happen. So I'll just click on copy. Obviously, you will always see a resource group because that is constant. You cannot create any resource without a resource group. So I'll just come and I'm going to paste. But this time around, I'm not going to add it. I will delete this, which is the storage account. I'll delete this and then I would add it here. So first I need to remove the resource group. Where's the resource group? Okay, this is it. So I'll delete this. So everything will change. I need to change everywhere that resource group is referenced. I need to change it to the actual one. And my VS Code, the good thing is it's giving me that suggestion. So all I need to do is I just click on this, and I think that is pretty much all. No, I need the resource group name. I need to resource group name should be test. Okay, so we have to modify some things, but I'll just leave them as examples. But I'm just going to modify the resource group. So my resource group is test. Okay, and there's this resource group. Okay, so anywhere I see resource group that is referencing example, I'm just going to change it to test because that is the name, that's the reference name we give our resource group. So it's also going to be here. Okay, let's see if we have any other place. Okay, so we've changed all our, let me let me see. Okay, but I believe we have what we want. So let's Terraform FMT. Let's see if there are any issues. No issues. Terraform validate. Let me see what response we'll get from. So Terraform validate to validate what you have defined if it is you know if it's okay or not. So let's give it a sec for it to validate all the things that we have defined, and let's see the output we are going to get from it. So while waiting for that, you might all of these are just reference name. To make it easier for you, it's best if you make sure that each resource is given a different reference name, so that when you want to reference those resources, for example, I have different name called example. So sometimes I might be wondering which of the examples am I referencing, right? Which of the examples am I referencing, so that we don't have um issues when defining our infrastructure. It's better for you to give it separate reference names. So you can see success, the configuration is valid. So let's run Terraform plan. We don't need to run init again because we've already initialized Terraform on this particular file. So we'll just run Terraform plan and Terraform, Terraform plan. Okay. So we'll run Terraform plan and then let's see the output that this is going to give us. All right, so we notice something here. We notice the output is different from what we've been saying. Now we are saying 4 to add and 1 to destroy. How do we have 4 to add and 1 to destroy? First off, like I said, what Terraform will do is Terraform will always compare what you have, what you define in the main.tf to what you have in your um in your account or your infrastructure. So before now, I told you we replaced the storage account with a virtual machine. Now Terraform checked its state file and noticed that it has previously created a storage account. But now there is no block of code creating a storage account in the main.tf again. So what it does is that it's like an indication for you to delete that resource. So that's why it's showing 1 to destroy. So it is the storage account that is trying to resource because it is saying that there's a storage account in this particular resource group. However, in your main.tf file, there is no block of code for storage account there. So it just says, okay, I can't find this in my code. Whatever I cannot find in my code, then I take it out. So Terraform will go ahead and destroy or delete that storage account. Now, when you create a virtual machine, you create other things alongside a virtual machine. You create the VNet, you create the network interface card, you create the subnet before you create the virtual machine itself. And you also need to add the disk is not there because you can always attach a disk even after creation. So this using a disk or defining a disk is not um, let's say um, a, a non-negotiable when creating a virtual machine. You can always add it, but we just used what was on the documentation page as it is, and then this is what we are creating. So if we go up, let's go up and see the output. Okay, so Terraform will blah blah blah. Now you can see you can see create, and you can see destroy. So it said this will be created. The virtual machine will be created. You can see the name admin user and all of that. And then you can see the SSH key already, username. You can see it created an OS6 by itself without even me defining it. You can see the ISO image, Ubuntu, and network interface will be created. That's the second thing that will be created, network interface. Now you can see Azure storage account will be destroyed because it is saying a storage account in the resource, but it is not saying that storage account in the code. Remember, this is infrastructure as code. You are not you are you are telling Terraform this is how I want my infrastructure to be. Whatever is not in this code should not be in my infrastructure. So it has checked. It is not seeing a storage account in this code. Therefore, even if it is in the infrastructure before, it is going to destroy it. That is how powerful Terraform is. So it is destroying the storage account. You can see red, 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 and minus in all of this. And then a subnet to be created, which is the third resource, and a VNet to be created, which is the fourth resource. So we are saying 4 to add, 1 to destroy. Now we've gone through, let me now do Terraform apply. So let me do auto approve, auto approve. So we've seen how to add, we've seen how to modify, which is change, and how to destroy. So there are two ways to actually destroy. This is the first way to destroy, where you just take it out of the block of code entirely, and then that one will destroy it. That's the first way, but that is not the recommended way to take down your resource. So once we've created this virtual machine, we are going to destroy everything. We use the um, last command in the Terraform lifecycle, which is the Terraform destroy. We use that to destroy everything that we've created. It will clean up everything to wipe up everything, and then you know that will be all for today. So let's just hold on for Terraform apply to actually apply all our changes and create a virtual machine and you know, all of that. Okay, so we run into an error, and the error is the it said unexpected status 409 conflict with error. SKU not available. The request VM size for resource blah 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 is currently not available in the location West Europe. So I think we majorly have two issues here. First is the Azure virtual machine name, and then secondly is the SKU. So let's let's edit that. Let's change the name because the name of your virtual machine has to be globally unique. So let's change the name. Retrax Linux VM. That's the name of the virtual machine. And then standard F2 is not available in West Europe. So let's go for standard B2. Let's go for standard B2. Okay. So standard B2 are like just small size virtual machine that you can use for dev or test environment. But that also brings me back to my point where if you've not done all of these things manually by clicking and by seeing all these virtual machine sizes, you might be confused on what to do. So now we've changed the name and then the size. So let's do Terraform plan and let's see what the outcome is going to be. So, so let's click on it. While doing that, let's confirm from our Azure account if nothing has been changed from our Azure account. Okay, so let's open our Terraform RG. So now you can notice now that the storage account is no longer there. The virtual network was created. The network interface was created. However, the virtual machine was not created. So this is to show you that some things will get done, and if there's any issues, it doesn't stop the others because um, the way it happens is that Terraform starts creating from the top. It starts creating from the top and then keeps going. So before we got to the level of virtual machine, there were other things that it's needed to create, and it had already started creating those things. It had already deleted the storage account and it's already creating the other things. So it got stuck when it got to creating a virtual machine. That is why it threw up that error. So you have to be careful when um working with this thing. And the reason why this happened was because I used auto approve. This is just a typical example or typical case why I say using auto approve is not really recommended. Because in a case where if imagine this was not like a demo or a test situation now, and I really didn't want, you know, things to be destroyed like that. I want everything to just happen seamlessly because now you can see it is only adding one and it is destroying zero because it has done that before. So let me just apply to auto. Okay, so that's what I was trying to make reference to. That when you use auto approve, it will approve this thing by itself. If it was a case where I didn't click on auto approve now, at least I know that um I might not encounter this, right? But because I use auto approve, it will go ahead and start creating those resources. So that's why I said basically it's better for you to get the prompt and then you type yes, and then you're rest assured that okay, you something that you manually approve yourself. I don't know if that is clear and if that is understood. So you can see storage account is is off, it's gone because obviously it is not in our code. Infrastructure as code. So it is not in our code. So whatever is not in our code, we take it off. Whatever is in our code, we create it. So basically, this is the whole concept. This is how you can create resources. This is how you can modify resources. This is how you can delete resources using infrastructure as code. So I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to wait for this to complete. Yes, going to wait for this to complete. And after that, then we'll use Terraform destroy, and then we'll destroy everything. We'll clean up the whole thing, and then we'll call it a day. So let's wait for a few seconds. And yeah, so as you can see this time around, it is only doing a create operation, and it is only creating the virtual machine. It is creating a virtual machine. Beforehand, before the last output was it's creating several things, but now it is only creating just the virtual machine, and things that comes with the virtual machine. So we're having another error. It is saying resource group name, okay, capacity. The restricted is currently not available in location West Europe. So we have to keep I would have to check for a suitable capacity for this. So not so as not to waste our time. At least we already saw how to create a storage account and how to create a virtual machine, how to destroy. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just run Terraform destroy. So I will destroy the main resources that's have been created. Probably in the next video, I would check for the proper capacity or for the right capacity or right SKU that we can use. And then maybe I would show that to us in the next video. So let me just run Terraform destroy. So it will bring down everything that has been created, including the resource group, including the resource group. So when we come here, we can still see the resource group. When we click on it, when we click on it, we would see that we have our virtual network and our network interface card, right? So let's wait for the destruction to complete. So once it is completed, we will go back, we'll check if we still have those resource group and the resources also. Okay, so as we can see, 0 to add, 0 to change, and 4 to destroy. So it is destroying everything that has been created. So now it is only doing the destruction part, and it is destroying the network interface. It is destroying the resource group. It is destroying the subnet, and it is destroying the virtual network. So, and there are two operations that requires you for a prompt. If you're applying, it will require you for a prompt so that so that you can be sure of what you're doing. And if you want to destroy, it will prompt you to also choose either yes or no. So you can see it here. Do you really want to destroy all resources? So you have to say yes if you want to destroy all resources. And all resources has been destroyed. So if I come to, so now I still have it here. If I refresh, I shouldn't see anything. I shouldn't see it. So now the resource group is gone and everything within or inside the resource group is totally gone. So basically, we've been able to practice how to create a storage account, how to create a virtual machine, how to use how to do different things, how to destroy, how to modify. So we've performed the full Terraform lifecycle in this video. I really hope this video has been helpful. If you find it helpful, do well to like the video, share it with any of your friends, family, colleagues that might be interested. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please do go to subscribe to my channel and most importantly, turn on your notification bell so you get updated when I post the next video. So I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.